Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone just doesn't understand you? As a Capricorn, this feeling is all too familiar. People often misinterpret our drive and focus, assuming we're just rigid or overly ambitious. But being a Capricorn goes beyond setting high goals. It's about the profound connection we have with our purpose. When someone questions or dismisses that, it can hurt more than they realize. I've experienced moments when friends casually asked, "Are you sure you can handle that?" or remarked, "That seems too much for you." While these comments may appear innocent, they can trigger a mix of frustration and self-doubt in a Capricorn. I've learned that this reaction isn't just sensitivity, it's a protective response. Our ambitions are not mere items on a to-do list. They're personal, reflecting the time and effort we've poured into shaping our lives. I remember a specific instance when a close friend doubted a significant decision I had carefully considered for months. I felt a painful mix of disbelief and hurt, not because they didn't care, but because they didn't understand the weight of my decision. This misunderstanding often leads to the misconception that we lack capability. It's truly about respecting the deep determination that defines us. What Capricorns need in these moments isn't blind agreement, but trust in our ability to navigate our paths. Simply showing belief in our plans, even amid doubt, fosters a bond of trust and respect. When that trust falters, we may become defensive or withdraw altogether. After all, if someone doesn't believe in us, why should we continue sharing our aspirations? Such distance can strain any relationship, be it with friends, family, or partners. Over time, it can leave us feeling isolated on our journey. I've often thought, maybe I'm alone in this. It's not the ambition that feels lonely, it's the absence of support. Ironically, while Capricorns are often seen as stable and strong figures, we also crave encouragement. A simple phrase like, "I know you can do this," can make a world of difference. Similarly, when it comes to our emotions, people often perceive us as stoic or unaffected. I've lost count of how many times I've heard, "You're being too serious," or "Just brush it off." Those comments can quickly lead me to shut down. Capricorns may not always show our emotions openly, but that doesn't mean we don't feel deeply. We simply take our time to process before sharing. So when we finally open up, we're seeking understanding, not dismissal. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is that not everyone will validate your feelings. However, I've found that surrounding myself with those who do, those who listen without judgment, has been transformative. These moments of being truly heard strengthen relationships for everyone who values sincerity and trust. Creating a safe space for a Capricorn to share is where genuine connections flourish. We don't expect others to solve our problems or completely understand our emotions. What we truly crave is acknowledgement and validation. When someone says, "I get how you feel," it's powerful. It makes us feel seen and understood, which is rare but deeply appreciated for a Capricorn. So, if you're ever unsure how to approach a Capricorn, whether it's me or a friend, just remember, trust in their ambitions and embrace their emotions. These two aspects are fundamental to who we are, and respecting them will only strengthen your relationship. Feel free to comment below this video with "I" or your favorite number. And remember, your support means the world. Wishing you strength and understanding on your journey. We don't expect people to solve our problems or always understand our emotions perfectly. What we crave is acknowledgement and validation. When someone takes the time to say, "I get how you feel," it's powerful. It makes us feel seen and understood, which for a Capricorn is rare but deeply appreciated. So, if you've ever found yourself unsure of how to approach a Capricorn, whether it's me, a friend, or anyone else, just remember, trust in their ambitions and don't shy away from their emotions. These two things are at the core of who we are, and when you respect them, the relationship will only grow stronger. When a Capricorn shares their emotions, it's like they're offering you a glimpse into a part of themselves they don't often reveal. It's a level of vulnerability that needs to be treated with care. I know from experience that opening up doesn't come easily. It's a slow process built on trust. So, when we do decide to let someone in, we're hoping for empathy, not dismissal. And then there's comparison, the thing that can really hit home for someone like me. Capricorns put their all into what they do. We work hard, not just for the sake of it, but because we genuinely want to excel. So when someone says, "Why can't you be more like," it's like all that effort is being thrown into question. It's not just a casual comment to us. It feels like a blow to our self-worth. I've been in situations where someone compared me to someone else, and it immediately created this sense of frustration and even resentment. It's not that we don't want to be inspired by others, but when our efforts are overshadowed by someone else's, it makes us wonder if what we're doing even matters. Capricorns often tie a lot of their identity to their achievements. So when someone diminishes that by pointing to another person's success, it can plant seeds of self-doubt. I remember a time when someone close to me did this, and it felt like no matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. The truth is, Capricorns value their uniqueness. We want to be recognized for our individual strengths, not measured against someone else's. The best thing you can do is celebrate what makes us different. Highlight our accomplishments on their own merit, without comparing them to someone else's journey. It's easy to think a little comparison is harmless, but for a Capricorn, it can chip away at the confidence we've worked so hard to build. I've learned over time that what makes me thrive is not being like anyone else, but being the best version of myself. When people recognize that and support me for who I am, it strengthens the bond and fosters an environment where I can truly succeed. Speaking of environments where Capricorns thrive, one of the comments I've often encountered is, "You're too serious." Now let me tell you, that's one of the quickest ways to get under a Capricorn's skin. We take things seriously because we care, because we have a deep sense of responsibility. So, when someone makes light of that, it feels like they're mocking not just our attitude, but our values. I've had times where people have told me to lighten up or just have more fun, and while they might mean well, it doesn't come across that way. Capricorns approach life with intention, and while we absolutely know how to have fun, we prioritize what matters most to us. Being called too serious makes it seem like our dedication is a flaw, rather than something that drives us to succeed. But here's the thing, Capricorns don't need to change who we are to fit in. We need people who appreciate that seriousness is part of what makes us reliable, focused, and driven. When someone acknowledges that, it makes us feel seen for who we truly are. In my experience, the best relationships are the ones where both people appreciate each other's unique approach to life. Encourage a Capricorn's seriousness. It's what fuels our ambition. Now, if there's one thing Capricorns take pride in, it's our work ethic. We're known for being hard workers, and we don't shy away from it. But when someone mocks that drive, it's deeply hurtful. Comments like, "You need to relax more," or "Why do you work so much?" can feel like an attack on something that's core to our identity. I've had people say this to me before, and it always leaves me feeling unappreciated. We don't work hard for the sake of working. We do it because we have goals. We want to accomplish things, and we thrive on the structure and discipline that comes with it. When someone mocks that, it's like they're saying our efforts don't matter, or worse, that we're wasting our time. What some might see as overwork, we see as dedication. The misunderstanding often comes from people who don't share the same work style. What they think is just a joke can leave a Capricorn questioning their worth. And once that doubt sets in, it can take a lot to shake it off. For me, it's not about working all the time. It's about the satisfaction of knowing I'm moving towards something meaningful. In the end, what Capricorns really want is to be understood and respected for who we are. Serious, hardworking, and yes, sometimes a little too focused. But that's because we care. So next time, instead of telling us to relax or comparing us to others, recognize the drive behind everything we do. It's what makes us who we are. One of the most challenging things for a Capricorn is when their strengths are perceived as weaknesses. I've felt this myself. It's frustrating when the qualities I value most, like discipline and determination, are seen as rigidity or over-seriousness. This disconnect can make it hard to relate to others, especially when their feedback feels like criticism. Sometimes it leads to shutting down or becoming defensive, not because we can't handle feedback, but because it feels like our core values aren't being appreciated. In these moments, what really helps is simple recognition. When someone acknowledges how hard I've worked, or even says something as small as, "I really admire how dedicated you are," it's like a weight lifts. It reminds me that people see the effort behind the results, and that understanding creates a stronger bond. I've learned that relationships thrive on this kind of mutual respect. When you show appreciation for a Capricorn's hard work, it only encourages us to push further and chase our goals with even more determination. What's essential here is not just to recognize the outcome, but to acknowledge the process. For Capricorns, the journey matters just as much as the destination. We put so much heart into everything we do, and when that's appreciated, it fosters an environment where we can truly shine. It's about creating a space that doesn't just allow us to grow, but celebrates the ambition that drives us. In turn, this respect strengthens the connection, building a loyalty that we value deeply. Speaking of loyalty, that's another cornerstone for Capricorns. I take loyalty very seriously, both in friendships and relationships. So when someone doubts that, it can feel like a personal betrayal. I remember a time when someone questioned my commitment, and it stung deeply. For Capricorns, loyalty isn't just a word. It's something we prove through actions, consistency, and showing up for the people we care about. So when someone suggests we might not be as committed as we claim, it can unravel a lot of trust. Capricorns don't always wear their emotions on their sleeve, and that can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. I've had moments where, because I wasn't overly expressive, people assumed I wasn't as invested. But that's far from the truth. We just have our own way of showing loyalty. It's quiet, steady, and constant. If someone is genuinely concerned about our commitment, it's crucial they approach it with care. Instead of accusing or doubting, asking how we feel or sharing concerns creates a space for open dialogue. This reinforces trust instead of tearing it down. It's all about reassurance. When someone acknowledges a Capricorn's loyalty, it makes us feel appreciated. I've found that these moments of validation build even stronger connections, where both people can thrive in an environment of mutual respect. Loyalty, after all, is something we hold sacred, and when that's recognized, it deepens the relationship. On the flip side, if you really want to upset a Capricorn, telling them to chill out is a surefire way to do it. I've heard this more times than I care to count, and each time it makes me feel like the hard work I've put in is being belittled. Capricorns thrive on structure and discipline. That's what keeps us moving forward. So when someone casually tells us to relax, it can feel like they're dismissing all the effort and pressure we manage on a daily basis. It's not that we don't want to relax, but there's a way to approach it that doesn't undermine our approach to life. I've had moments where someone's comment about lightening up made me question whether my methods were effective or if I was overworking myself. That doubt doesn't help. It just adds stress. What really makes a difference is when someone recognizes that drive and suggests a healthy break without diminishing our hard work. Saying something like, "You deserve a break, let's take some time for ourselves," makes us feel seen and supported. It's all about the delivery. We know when we need to unwind, but we also need to feel like our efforts are understood. The balance comes when you support a Capricorn's ambition, while gently encouraging self-care in a way that aligns with their values. That approach is much more likely to resonate, helping us feel more connected rather than criticized. In the end, what Capricorns need is understanding and respect for our work ethic, our loyalty, and the effort we put into everything we do. It's through these small moments of acknowledgement that the strongest bonds are built, and that's what we value most. I've seen firsthand how crucial it is to show compassion for someone's dedication, especially when it comes to Capricorns. Being one myself, I can say we pour so much of ourselves into our work and ambitions that dismissing it, or worse, ignoring it, cuts deep. It's not that we expect constant praise, but when there's no recognition for the effort we put in, it leaves us feeling unseen and unappreciated. I've had moments where, After working tirelessly on something, a simple thank you would have gone a long way, but when that didn't come, it hit harder than I expected. This kind of oversight doesn't just affect the immediate mood. It can slowly drain motivation and create a barrier in relationships. Capricorns thrive on acknowledgment, not necessarily big rewards, but the kind that shows someone noticed the hard work, the attention to detail, or the long hours put in. It's such a simple thing to do, but it makes an enormous difference. Just hearing something like, "I see how much effort you're putting into this," can instantly lift the weight off our shoulders. It's these moments of appreciation that fuel our drive to keep going. And it's not just about the big wins either. Every little milestone, every step we take towards our goals, is worth noting. Ignoring these efforts can feel like we're toiling in silence, which over time can lead to bitterness and frustration. It's not uncommon for a Capricorn to withdraw if they feel their contributions aren't being valued. I've caught myself doing this too, pulling back, becoming quieter, not wanting to invest more energy if it seems like no one's paying attention. That kind of emotional withdrawal doesn't just impact us. It can weaken the bond we share with the people around us. The remedy is surprisingly simple. Show appreciation. It doesn't need to be grand, but consistent acknowledgement, something as small as a "good job" or "I noticed your effort," helps rebuild that connection and keeps us motivated. Recognizing a Capricorn's hard work is like giving water to a plant. It fosters growth, loyalty, and mutual respect in the relationship. And when we feel appreciated, it's not just beneficial for us. It improves the energy between everyone involved, creating a more positive, supportive environment. But while we do appreciate recognition, we also value our decision-making process immensely. I'm someone who likes to take my time weighing options carefully, considering all the angles before making a choice. So when someone tries to rush that process, it's an immediate source of frustration. For Capricorns, decisions are not something to be made lightly. They carry weight, and we want to get them right. Pressure to rush through that, whether at work or in personal situations, only leads to anxiety and doubt. I remember a time when I felt rushed into making a decision, and it left me second-guessing myself for days. That pressure creates an environment where it feels impossible to make a confident choice. Worse, it can lead to making the wrong call, something that really eats away at a Capricorn because we pride ourselves on being thoughtful and precise. When someone tells me, "Just make a choice already," it feels like they're dismissing the care and attention I'm trying to put into the decision. This kind of situation often makes me want to withdraw, retreating into my thoughts, avoiding the pressure altogether, or even delaying the decision further just to regain control. It's a delicate balance, but what works best is support, not pressure. When someone says, "Take your time, I trust your judgment," it feels like a breath of fresh air. It allows me to move at my own pace and, ironically, often helps me reach a decision faster because the stress of rushing is gone. Respecting a Capricorn's process isn't just about letting them take their time. It's about fostering trust. By creating a space where we feel comfortable thinking things through, you're actually helping us make better, more confident decisions. That patience and understanding go a long way in building trust and strengthening relationships. It reassures us that our approach is respected, and in turn, we're more likely to open up and share our thoughts and feelings more freely. What Capricorns need is a balance between recognition and respect for their process. Acknowledging the hard work, offering compassion for the dedication we show, and giving us the space to make decisions at our own pace. These are the keys to building a strong, supportive relationship. By showing understanding in these areas, you're not just helping us, you're creating a positive atmosphere where both sides can thrive, grow, and feel valued. I've noticed that one of the things Capricorns get a lot is that we're too practical, like being grounded and thinking things through is somehow a flaw. I mean, I get it. It's easy to misunderstand how practicality fits into our lives, but to us, it's more than just a habit. It's a mindset, a way to manage both the big picture and the details, ensuring that what we're working towards is sustainable. For me, Practicality is what keeps me moving forward, one careful step at a time. But hearing, "You're too practical," can feel like someone's minimizing what's actually one of my core strengths. There's this misconception that practicality comes at the expense of creativity or spontaneity, but that's not the case at all. Being practical doesn't mean we're not open to fun or that we lack imagination. In fact, it's often the opposite. Capricorns just like to make sure things are well thought out before diving in. We're the kind of people who balance risk with reward, and that process is what makes our dreams happen. I've had times when I've made plans with friends, and while they're rushing in with enthusiasm, I'm already thinking about how to make it work, how to ensure everyone has a good time, and that it'll be something memorable. When someone tells me I'm too practical, it stings a little because it feels like they're suggesting I'm holding back or missing out on the spontaneity of life. But for Capricorns, practicality doesn't hold us back. It's what grounds us. It helps us turn dreams into something real. To be honest, it's kind of frustrating when practicality is dismissed as a lack of creativity because in reality, it takes a lot of creativity to figure out how to make things work in the long run. I remember a specific moment when a close friend made an offhand comment about how practical I was, almost as if it was a negative thing. It threw me off, mainly because I thought they saw how much care I put into every decision, how thoughtful I try to be about everything from work projects to relationships. It wasn't until later that I realized they just didn't get it. They weren't trying to diminish me, but didn't fully understand how important practicality is to who I am. It's not about being rigid or boring. It's about making sure the foundations are solid, that what I build is something that will last. When it comes to relationships, I've found that people who appreciate my practical side are the ones I connect with the most. They see it not as a flaw, but as part of what makes me dependable, someone who can be counted on to think things through, to bring a sense of calm to otherwise chaotic situations. I've learned that it's all about how people frame it. When someone says, "I admire how sensible you are," or acknowledges that my careful approach pays off, it feels good. It's validating. It makes me feel like the effort I put into planning and being thoughtful is noticed. In the end, it's all about embracing what makes us who we are. Capricorns don't just want recognition for their ambition and hard work. We also want to feel that the way we approach life is respected. For me, being practical isn't something to hide or tone down. It's a strength. It's what allows me to move steadily towards my goals, knowing that I've considered the risks and the rewards. And when people around me understand that, it creates a deeper connection, one that's built on mutual respect and appreciation for what each of us brings to the table. I think the key is balance. Yes, there's a time for letting loose and being spontaneous, and we're not against that. But understanding when to lean on practicality and when to embrace a bit of unpredictability is what helps us navigate life effectively. So next time you're with a Capricorn and you notice their practical side shining through, try to see it for what it is, an anchor in an often unpredictable world. And who knows, that grounded approach might just be the thing that keeps everything from spinning out of control.